Hi, welcome. Can we talk about the worst of the worst when it comes to menopause symptoms? I feel like I've been at war with my body and mind over the last several years, since my estrogen and progesterone divorced me and moved out, and dozens of unwanted symptoms and changes moved in. 7 of those symptoms have been absolutely brutal, and I'm not one of those lucky ladies that can experiment with HRT. If you deal with any of these 7 side effects of peri and postmenopause, I feel for you because it's truly awful. I'm starting with pain because I've never experienced anything this widespread, unreal, shocking, unrelenting, and frustrating in all my life. I was told I likely had fibro in my 30s, and it didn't even come close to the menopause aches and pains. The loss of collagen and estrogen in midlife started a cascade of discomforts that has snowballed into ridiculousness over the last 10 years or so. It started with sore muscles, golfer's elbow, achy knees, and tension, and morphed into frozen shoulder, tendinitis in several areas, joint pain, stiffness, foot pain, leg cramps, costochondritis, and hip pain. Loads of fun, but that's not all. As a bonus, I was also gifted random surprising pain, like sharp jabs out of nowhere, burning feet, zaps, and stinging sensations, and a really weird feeling like something is trying to squeeze my bones. Just listing it all right now sounds very unreal and impossible, but it's very true, and I speak with enough middle-aged women every day to know that it's a very common menopausal experience, unfortunately. HRT can make a difference when it comes to pain, but it's not an option for me. Luckily, liquid collagen, magnesium glycinate, vitamin D, B12, and minding my diet help quite a bit. Inconsistent sleep and exhaustion have also been extremely hard to cope with in peri and postmenopause. It doesn't sound all that horrible, but if you're one of the unlucky ladies dealing with menopause insomnia, you know how debilitating it can be. I went through a period in perimenopause where I was lucky to get 3 to 4 hours of broken sleep, with the occasional night of 5 to 6 hours sleep sprinkled in just so I could survive. I could barely function, and I was so exhausted every day that it almost hurt. It's gotten better in postmenopause, but even now I usually don't sleep more than 6 hours, and I sometimes wake during the night, so I still have days where I'm dragging my backside around trying to get stuff done. I honestly believe if I could get my body to cooperate with me and sleep 7 to 8 hours soundly every night, I'd feel tons better, and some of my menopause symptoms would go away. Having a sleep routine helps, and I occasionally get 7 to 8 hours of sleep, which is lovely, even though it's usually broken. I have a video on tips to sleep better, which may help, so I'll link it in the description. Next is anxiety and panic. I've always been a bit of a worrier, but this is ridiculous. It started in perimenopause, and although I have a bit of a handle on it now, it's still very bothersome. I'm often overly tense, afraid of things that were never an issue before. I can no longer cope with the simplest of things. I deal with a ball of intensity in the center of my chest here and there, and honestly, sometimes I'm just anxious about nothing at all. I'm just stuck in fight or flight mode with no explanation or reason for it. Add a bit of health anxiety into the mix due to all the symptoms, and it becomes unbearable and unmanageable at times. I'm blessed that I'm not as out of control, panicked, and doom-focused as I was in perimenopause, but it still takes up a chunk of my life that I have to power through, and I just don't have time for it. I have to include worsening medical markers too. My body feels like it's glitching out, and the issues are adding up. Since perimenopause, my blood sugar's been harder to keep stable, my thyroid function is low, which is affecting my weight again, and my cholesterol levels are up, although I'm not as concerned about that one. I honestly feel broken sometimes, and I have to try 10 times harder to maintain my health now. It's frustrating to feel like I'm not in control of my health, and I have to overly focus on everything that I eat and do. It won't stop me from doing everything I can to be as healthy as possible, but it's upsetting that I have to try so hard just to stop the string of menopausal malfunctions. Speaking of malfunctions, I can't forget the brain drain. It's equally as brutal. I feel like I exist in an exhausting fog now, like I'm sitting in the back of the class, watching my life play out, but I'm not actively involved, if that makes sense. I space out several times a week now, like my brain has to reload itself. I forget things and misplace things. I don't have the focus I used to, and problem solving and multitasking are challenging. It's not at all like me, and I hope it settles down because my life is far too busy for this nonsense. It's often referred to as brain fog, but that doesn't do it justice. It's menopause brain drain. Like menopause has sucked part of the battery charge out of my brain and I'm forced to function in low energy mode. Next is dry eyes. It doesn't sound like one of the worst symptoms, but it truly is. My eyes are a constant worry and bother. They're always dry, gritty, itchy, and sore. My vision is often blurry with my glasses on. I have ocular migraines causing visual disturbances. The floaters have me seeing all sorts of things. Over the last few weeks, I've had pain in one eye that the eye doctor can't explain. And this week, a bloodshot eye. On top of all that, I have eyelid eczema, which adds to the misery. I live on eye drops of one variety or another, and I can't even open my eyes in the morning without using drops. I've peeled a layer off my eye in the past, and I never want to relive that again. It's torturous, honestly. If you're dealing with the eye issues in peri and postmenopause, I really feel for you because it's horrible. I have to include palpitations. I dealt with them in perimenopause, but they are definitely on my worst menopause symptoms list. One of the scariest things I've ever experienced, and I pray they're behind me now. I went for so many heart tests back then, and luckily nothing serious was discovered. It didn't tame the fear though. I panicked every time they happened. I mostly deal with adrenaline surges now, which can feel like a flip-flop or butterflies, and they upset me too because I often question whether the sensation is actually coming from my stomach or not. It's always something in menopause, isn't it? What are your worst peri or postmenopause symptoms? Do you have a few that are much more than bothersome and really affect your life? Share in the comments. I wish health, happiness, and peace of body and mind for each of you, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye for now.